Okay, we can start now. Tom, there's been 5 years since you introduced the IQOS device on the market in Bulgaria. What happened during this time? What changed?
It changed that approximately 12% of the market in Bulgaria is now represented by the consumables for IQOS, and that means that approximately 10 or even more percent of Bulgarian smokers have switched to a product that is a much better choice for them, and I think that's great progress. Now, it's not as great a progress as we've seen in some other countries. For instance, if you take Rome, where I come from, 25%, a quarter of smokers have switched to IQOS. If you take Athens, we're more or less at the same percentage.
Is whole Italy like Rome?
No. Milan is very similar. There's other cities. Of course, it's not all the same, but the percentage in Italy is very high, and in many of those places it is. Now, Bulgaria is doing really well, though. I mean, 10% of change in only a few years is actually a fantastic result. But more can be done. More can be done if we all encourage that change. And that goes from public policies to the fact that physicians can have a role, the NGOs, the health community. I mean, we can encourage a more rapid change.
Where stands Bulgaria compared to other markets?
As I mentioned, there's markets where the traction has been very limited, right? If I take France, for instance, I think we're approximately at 1-2%. But there's markets where the traction has been much more important. If you take Japan, a third of smokers have switched to heated tobacco products. If you take the UK, a third of smokers have switched to e-cigarettes. So in those countries, change is even faster. And I would say Bulgaria stands in the middle. Bulgaria is accepting, adopting the innovation, but not as fast as some other countries. So something more can be done, but progress has been really, really good.
I understand. Can you tell me what happened in the last, let's say, 15, 20 years? I mean, how did the industry change when countries started to change regulations in order to forbid smoking in restaurants, in cafes? So you had to take hard decisions. You had to change the company's strategy because you were among the biggest players on the market.
Look, in all honesty, those regulations didn't change much. We haven't witnessed a big change in terms of sales in our industry. In fact, in most countries, most of the efforts made over the last few years, the last couple of decades, didn't really get a huge impact on the use of cigarettes. And that's not necessarily a good thing because, no, honestly, no. And globally, even the WHO says that by 2025, you will have approximately the same number of smokers as you have today. So the question, I think, today should be another one. And the question should be, what do we do for those smokers, the vast majority of smokers who don't quit, who continue using cigarettes? And today we do have alternatives. We do have products that do not burn, that generate significantly lower levels of harmful compounds like IQOS or like e-cigarettes. When they're good quality, they're much better alternatives. And I think progressive policies should encourage the adoption of those products for those who don't quit cigarettes. This is, for instance, what countries like New Zealand or the UK are doing today with a lot of support for that positive change. And that's how they want to get rid of cigarettes.
And what is the situation in the USA where the FDA approved at a later stage your product?
You're right, in the USA, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago actually, not 2 years ago, the FDA authorized IQOS to be commercialized as a product that is sold with claims that it significantly reduces the exposure to toxic compounds found in smoke compared to cigarettes. Then commercialization was going on. A year and a half ago, we had a decision, though, from the International Trade Commission that the import of IQOS was not allowed anymore. So we had to take away the product from the market. We now have contingency plan to go back to the market as of next year. And we also recently, you probably have seen it, we have bought back the rights to commercialize IQOS in the US from Altria. Altria had the rights to commercialize our products in the US. We bought it back for $2.7 billion. And as of April 2024, we will be the sole ones with the rights to commercialize IQOS in the US. Now, that's a big opportunity because the US means
it's a huge market.
34 million smokers, very simply. And in terms of the market for smoke-free products, we're talking about 60% of the international market, i.e. excluding China. So, of course, it's the biggest opportunity to expand. And look, if we want to get to a smoke-free future, a place where all smokers switch, of course, US is important.
So, how are your plans developing? I mean, is everything like results and effects is going according to your plan and your strategy? And do you have a plan B?
So I would say actually for now things are going at least as well as we expected, perhaps even better. We're at a point where 30% of our revenues come from smoke-free products. We have already convinced to adopt IQOS something like 20 million smokers, excluding Ukraine and Russia, because we took them away from our financials due to the volatility. And importantly, 70% of those 20 million, i.e. 13.5 million, have abandoned cigarettes. So actually we're doing really well. Our product is commercialized in over 70 countries. Now, our ambition is by 2025 to be in 100 markets, to be in a situation where over 40 million smokers have switched, and that we become a majority smoke-free product company, i.e. that 50% or more of our revenues come from those products. But we're getting there. I mean, we're really on track with that. So I think things are going really well. And plan B, there's no plan B. We need to get there. We promised our investors, we promised our consumers, all those who have a stake in the company. So there's no plan B. We're going towards that direction. Okay.
You have spent about $3.5 billion developing the IQOS product. Is that the amount of the whole investment?
No, actually, that's one data we give, and it includes research and development. It includes some early manufacturing, commercialization, particularly the central cost. But there's much more, because today, in fact, our company is fully dedicated, or almost fully dedicated, to smoke-free products. So actually, if you want to consider everything that is invested for smoke-free products, you would consider almost everything. That is really the bulk of the core investment that we make public. Like, to give you an idea, today, 99% of our research and development is dedicated to smoke-free products. 75% of our commercial efforts are dedicated to smoke-free products. So that's really the core of our company. Although we are also venturing or starting to venture beyond even nicotine, but we can talk about that if of interest later.
PMI is a huge company. Where do you stand among your competitors?
On competitors, though, we also would welcome more efforts from competitors to join us into this ambition to replace cigarettes with smoke-free products. Because look, some countries can really get rid of cigarettes, but that means that everyone goes in the same direction. The pace of change depends on that. And everyone includes the governments, includes the NGOs, includes civil society, but it also includes competitors.
It's actually a very hard thing to be the pioneer, because you're the first in the line and all the wind is going to you.
Yes, but it's also what makes us proud of what we're doing, and it's the right thing to do because it gives you a competitive edge, and because if we manage to take the industry with us, if we manage to drive a dramatic change in the industry, addressing the key question on our products, which is what do you do about the fact that it causes diseases and is addictive, of course we will be better off. Society will be better off. It's a win-win.
What other plans does PMI have, like acquisitions, entering new markets and introducing new products?
There's plenty of those. And actually, we made a recent acquisition. We bought a company that's a Swedish company called Swedish Match. Swedish Match is the leader by far in oral tobacco, in snus, and pouches. Those are pouches of tobacco or nicotine consumed between the lips and the gums. Very popular in Sweden, somehow popular in the US and in other countries. And we did this acquisition because we want to expand the range of smoke-free products that we have in our portfolio today. People have different preferences, so if we really want to get to a point where we don't have cigarettes on the market anymore, we need to address those preferences. The second reason is they have a strong presence in the US. I mean, this company has 60% of the pouches business in the US, 150,000 point of sales, 500 salespeople. For us, it's a good way to re-enter the US, as I mentioned before. That's a core market. But then we also ventured outside of nicotine. I don't know if that's of interest, but we recently bought 3 companies, Otitopic, Vectura, and Fertin Pharma, because we want to start developing a business that is healthcare and wellness beyond nicotine, beyond what we do today. And we do it because with time, as we ventured into smoke-free products, we generated so much knowledge and expertise in science, in technologies to deliver chemicals and drugs and nicotine, that on that we can build a new future.
Okay. I know you have a project connected with some sort of vaccine, I think in Canada, made from marijuana.
No, actually that was made from tobacco. It was a company called Medicago in which we owned a share of around 1/3, but we recently divested from that business. We got to a point where it made more sense to send it to Mitsubishi Tanabe Pharma so they can centralize the whole sections of the business, and so we recently divested from Medicago. But we were proud of the work we did with them on vaccines.
So you're not entering the pharmaceutical market?
We are, but through another avenue. We recently bought 3 companies called Otitopic, Vectura, and Fertin Pharma. Those companies are specialized into technologies to deliver drugs. Vectura has inhaling technologies. Fertin Pharma has oral delivery of drugs and something like lozenges and gums. And then Otitopic is very interesting because Otitopic basically delivers through inhalation something that's very close to aspirin. And delivering through inhalation allows you to metabolize in a question of 30 seconds what you would otherwise metabolize in 25-30 minutes through a pill. So for those who have, for instance, a cardiovascular issue, a heart attack, that can save lives. And it gives you a clear example of where we're heading. The idea is to leverage the ability to aerosolize, to deliver drugs in a different way, or to deliver sleeping aids, or to deliver mood aids, right? It can be medical cannabis at some point. So it's the delivery of an existing molecule where we're focusing to help healthcare and wellness. The idea, to give you a sense of where we're going, is by 2025 to have approximately $1 billion in net revenues in US dollars coming from this business. So we're setting the basis for it, but by 2025 we should have a solid line of business.
Well, please tell me, Tom, what are the plans of PMI for Bulgaria? Are you going to introduce new products on our market?
Look, everywhere we're going to introduce new products because that's how this new market works. The market of technology and science and innovation is made by 2 streams. The first one is on one single product, take IQOS, we constantly improve the product to make sure that we address consumer needs, right? Consumers give us feedback. And a bit like it happens with mobile phones. Every year you have a new mobile phone which addresses some pain points or improves over the previous version. Same with IQOS. Globally we already have 6 or 7 versions of IQOS over time, improving every year, right? And at the same time, we're going to expand the product portfolio because we know that some smokers would prefer e-cigarettes, others would prefer heated tobacco, others would prefer snus or pouches. So it's this vertical and lateral improvement in our portfolio that will continue to happen all the time. And Bulgaria is no different from that.
A lot of people refuse to switch because they are afraid of the health issues. Do we have already enough sustainable data about the health impact of the smoke-free products?
We have more than enough to say that a regulated, a quality smoke-free product is a much better choice than a cigarette. We have more than enough on that. If I take IQOS, we have already numbers of chemistry studies that show that the reduction in harmful compounds compared to cigarettes is in the range of 90-95% on average. That's a tremendous improvement. Studies on toxicity in laboratory show a similar reduction by 90-95%. We have clinical studies already that tell you that those who switch to IQOS, their metabolites, the effects observed in their bodies are similar to the effects observed in those who quit smoking. If there's one beat that's still developing because it takes time, that's epidemiology. But epidemiology will be needed to tell you the exact amount of the harm reduction, but we already know those products are a much, much better choice than cigarettes, so there should be no doubt that switching is the right thing to do for those who don't quit.
Okay, thank you very much for this interview.
You're welcome.